How did the Aztec civilization, which was immune for 200 years to outbreaks, famines, or revolutions, wipe out? Why is the Aztec civilization a mixture of mythology and reality? How deep do we need to dig into their mystery to know their truth? Is Mexico really a modern version of Aztec civilization? This eagle is not entirely coincidental. For nearly 200 years, the Aztecs had established a two-tiered ruling system, a system that would be adopted by various rulers much later. The Aztec civilization, characterized by Lake Texcoco, was largely forgotten due to its drainage by the Spanish. Until in 1978, some electricians made a chance discovery of the Aztec pyramid. Between 1325 to 1521, the Aztec civilization covered most parts of Mesoamerica, the area which includes modern-day Mexico. Out of all Mesoamerican civilization, the Aztecs leave most prominent data. Aztecs were excellent in art, architecture, agriculture, and trade. Agriculture and trade lead to expansion of a civilization, and art and architecture, apart from their contemporary and aesthetic value, preserve the history of the civilization. The Aztec writings regarding their origin story was burned by an Aztec king in order to protect the secrecy and authenticity of their patron god, Huitzilopochtli. Later, Spanish invasion further destroyed most writings, resulting in an origin myth rather than an origin history. The source of Nawa-speaking folks are shrouded in a cloud of mystery, especially since no records of the same has been found. Their origin is attributed to a mythical land of Aztlan. The migration story recounted by the Aztecs along with several other tribes was that they were led by their tribal deity Huitzilopochtli. He was the god of war and sun, like an amalgamation of Mars and Apollo, or Surya and Indra. Huitzilopochtli guided them for years, allowing them to settle for a few decades and again start moving. The priests interpreted the will of Huitzilopochtli, and based solely on their interpretation, the Mexicas continued their nomadic life. Huitzilopochtli was a cruel god who had, over the time, become more than simply a patron and had to be satisfied by human sacrifices. He did not let them settle down and transformed the agricultural tribe into a war-hungry tribe. For a period of time, Huitzilopochtli allowed his sister Malinasoshi to rule over Aztecs, but they summoned him back for his guidance. Upon bereft of her reign, the revengeful goddess gave birth to Copil. Copil was later killed by Huitzilopochtli and his heart thrown in Texcoco Lake. Therefore, until the Aztecs found the lake, they had to go on. They were prophesied to build a city on the heart of Copil, and the symbol of recognition was an eagle eating a snake perched on a cactus tree. This symbol of establishment later found place in Mexican flag. The people of Culhuacan were so impressed by the Mexicas that in an act of gratitude, they gave their princess to the Mexica chief in marriage. However, the violent Mexicas sacrificed the princess in the hope of turning her into a war goddess. This caused the horrified people of Culhuacan to drive them out of Mexico Valley. The misconceptions that Aztecs were the earliest inhabitant of Mexico Valley is contested by the fact that civilizations which were quite sophisticated had existed before the Aztecs in the Mexico Valley. These civilizations had cities, systems, agriculture which were more superior than the nomadic Aztecs. After being driven away, the Aztecs arrived and settled over central Mexico. Aztecs owe their foundation to a triple alliance formed between Texcoco, Tenochtitlan, and Tlacopan. These councils were always fighting amongst each other for dominance. Amongst these, Texcoco fought a battle of dominance over Tepanec in the Tepanec War. Emerging victorious, Texcoco formed an alliance with its ally city-states. Over the time, the tribal deity of Aztec ordered the Tenochtitlan to separate and become the supreme power, naming its ruler Huelaloc, you guessed it, High King. Tenochtitlan is the present-day Mexican city. Tenochtitlan was built along Lake Texcoco, and the city plan has 4 symmetrical sections, with the Temple Mayor at the center. The Temple Mayor, also known as the Great Pyramid of Tenochtitlan, led to twin shrines of Tlaloc and Huitzilopochtli. Aztecs performed ritualistic human sacrifices, but we will get to their excessively variant religion in our next video. Before moving on, here's a reminder to subscribe to our channel and share this video so that more people like you can take these miniature history snacks too. Is Mexico really a modern version of Aztec civilization? In a way, yes. After the conquer of the Aztecs, the Spanish enlisted Aztec warriors within their migratory troops. These troops moved along to fight various wars across Mesoamerica, and thus, in a cyclical way that the civilization had begun, Aztec warriors began their nomadic lifestyle of sporadic settlements again, just as they had done in the beginning. Under the Spanish crown, Aztec culture and Nahua language began to spread, while on the other hand, the Aztec rulers became puppets of the Spanish reign. Fear a thing like the Aztecs feared the Spanish pox. For centuries, the Aztecs had lived without viral outbreaks until their invaders came bearing smallpox that dramatically swept down the Aztec population. Aztec lives in Mexico in various ways. Aztec symbols and mythology have been incorporated by Mexican government. Understanding the Aztecs became an integral part of understanding Mexican identity for many scholars who relied on Aztec texts to look for an ingenious past. This was called the Creole patriotism. Today, Nahua is spoken by over 1.5 million people around central Mexico. Mexican cuisine remains deeply affected by Aztec diet of corn, chili, beans, squash, tomato and avocado, and various dishes which were introduced to the Spaniards by the Aztecs. One kilogram of gold would cost approximately 450 cocoa beans. Either they are seriously undervaluing gold or they are definitely chocoholics. The Mexican origin is a layered history and often overlaps and runs parallel to various simultaneous history. In order to understand them better, do not miss our next series on the Aztecs.